welcome to Just My Show, where I believe Andre Agassi's biggest crime was not warning a certain teenager that he wasn't cool enough to pull off those denim shorts with the pink spandex. Great to have you guys here. As I mentioned last time, the Brady Bunch turned 40 earlier this fall, and one of the original cast members celebrated with the release of a new book. Not about the original series, but about the short-lived Brady Bunch Variety Hour. Odds are you've never seen the show, which is probably for the best. Cindy Brady herself, Susan Olsen, will be right here in this podcast to talk about what some have called one of the worst shows in the history of TV. And, of course, we'll get her to tell a tale or two about the original show that y'all grew up watching as well. But before we do that, time to bring you a little service we like to call New News About Old Stuff. Here are your very latest retro headlines. Congratulations to Guy Smiley and the gang, the Brady Bunch, not the only show hitting a big milestone this fall. Sesame Street's turning 40 as well. If you've been on Google at all this past week, you may have noticed their daily images featured a different Sesame character each day as we lead up to the big anniversary this Tuesday when the show will kick off its new season with special guest Michelle Obama. Meanwhile, another PBS classic was honored this past week as a statue of Mr. Fred Rogers was unveiled in the show's home city of Pittsburgh. As a part of the celebration, WQED-TV opened its doors this weekend to let the public see part of the show's famous Neighborhood of Make-Believe set. Mr. Rogers died in 2003. A few books out this week that you may want to add to your retro reading list. Jodie Sweetin of Full House fame is out with a new memoir called Unsweetened, in which she writes about the show and her struggles with drug addiction. And it may just be the greatest rivalry in the history of sports. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson now together as co-authors, along with Jackie McMullen, on the brand new book When the Game Was Ours. The two Hall of Famers, of course, faced off in the 1979 NCAA championship game and went on to fight many a battle in the 80s as members of the Celtics and Lakers. What made the rivalry so special? Our friend Ryan Lester runs the popular sports blog Lester's Legends.
One was a city kid from Michigan, the other a country boy from Indiana. One plays on the East Coast, the other on the West Coast. The two most successful organizations in basketball. And just their rivalry changed the game of basketball.
Make sure to visit Ryan over at lesterslegends.com. And finally, former tennis star Andre Agassi out with his brand new memoir called Open, in which he admits that his trademark hair of the late 80s and early 90s was, in fact, not his own. Agassi also admits to using crystal meth during his playing days, which he apparently denied to the ATP Tour after failing a drug test. This part of the book getting mixed reaction from current and former players. And now with a special commentary for Just My Show, Hall of Fame tennis writer and broadcaster Bud Collins.
So Andre Agassi has come clean about his drug adventures. A long time ago, but obviously it's been bothering him for more than a decade. And I, for one, applaud. Who among us isn't without a bit of sin? And he did stop using the drugs. He became a better person after that. And he wanted to be honest. And it bugged him that he wasn't honest in lying about using the drug and in using the drug itself, which was illegal. That's a man who is raising two young children and teaching them that honesty is the best policy. Andre has gone from punk to paragon. The things he does now, and after his resuming his career and going to the top from a terribly low ranking, what he's done is to be a genuine humanitarian, building a prep school for kids in a troubled area of Las Vegas, and building a Boys and Girls Club there too. A very, very difficult neighborhood, but he has made it come true for kids who get into his schools. He's going to do more of that. He does so many charitable things that I couldn't add them all up here. But certainly he's not the worst person, the worst sinner who's played tennis. How about the Irishman, Veer Gould, Wimbledon finalist in 1879. He was later convicted of murder and went to Devil's Island because he committed this murder in France to live out his life. So Gould was a murderer, but Andre Agassi, whatever you think of him, is a humanitarian.
Thank you, Bud. Everyone make sure to visit BudCollinsTennis.com. Out on DVD this week, thanks to TVShowsOnDVD.com, Sesame Street, 40 Years of Sunny Days, and G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, the complete collector set. For links to these and many more retro pop culture headlines from all around the web, head over to JustMyShow.com. Time to move on to today's guest. You know her as Cindy Brady on the classic series The Brady Bunch. She's the co-author, along with Ted Nicholson and Lisa Sutton, of the new book Love to Love You Brady's, about the not-so-classic Brady Bunch Variety Hour. Here's my chat with Susan Olsen. Susan, congrats on the new book. Congrats on 40 Years of the Brady Bunch. How you doing?
Thank you. Fine, thank you.
So you seem to be sort of, I'd say, the straight shooter of the group. You know, you're not afraid to be, critical of some of the Brady projects, but at the same time, you do it in a way that it makes you seem like you still really are happy to be part of all of it. So, on the whole, Cindy Brady, 40 years of Cindy Brady, been good to you?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound so convincing.
Well, it's funny because there's a certain bit about 40 years of Cindy Brady. There's still something about the name Cindy Brady that sort of gives me a knee-jerk reaction of, ooh, God, 40 years and we're still talking about it. However, it is good. I mean, it hasn't been good to me in the sense that it's not that lucrative, and we get to sit back and watch everybody else make tons of money off of the show that we did. But in terms of being a great life experience, it's awesome.
Okay. So you were in most of the Brady incarnations. You weren't in A Very Brady Christmas.
Right.
Putting aside the Variety Hour, which we'll get to in a second, which projects are you proud of? Which ones not so much?
Oh. Proud?
Or which ones are, maybe that's the wrong word. Which ones are good, which ones are sort of good bad in a good cheesy way, and which ones are just bad.
Well, okay. The one that's just bad, that like the Variety Hour is so bad it's good. It's hysterical.